Hey, what's up guys, Exalted here, and before I start the video, like always, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to the amazing people that use my supported creator code. I really appreciate all the support, it really means a lot to me. If you guys would like a shout out in the next video, you guys can go ahead and send me a picture of you guys using my code in Discord or through Twitter. And yeah, with that being said, let's get right into the video. Hey, what's up guys, Exalted here, and in today's video, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be teaching you guys how to pick the correct settings for you. The best players in the world have found the best settings for them, but settings are different depending on the person that uses them. As you guys obviously know, everybody is so much different physically, like when it comes to shoulder size, arm size, hand size, just everything. So the goal with sensitivity and settings is finding what makes it so that you can adapt to them the easiest so that you can maximize your performance. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be helping you guys figure out that point to where you're like, okay, I feel comfortable with my settings, and hopefully that should make you guys much better players. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Alright guys, so the first thing I want to go over is I want to go over keybinds, and then I'll go over sensitivity, and then I'll go through a few of my settings and tell you why I use them. So like I said, first of all, let's go through keybinds. One huge thing with keybinds is you want to make sure they're efficient. Other players' keybinds will not work for you. Everybody's hand sizes are bigger, smaller, their fingers are longer, thinner, whatever it might be. You need to find keybinds that fit you and are comfortable. If it's not comfortable, it's probably not going to work. For example, Mr. Savage M probably has the longest pointer finger I've seen in my entire life because he stretches all the way to Y to edit. I couldn't even imagine doing that. That would just strain my hand and it would honestly just be painful. It would not work for me, but he absolutely destroys. It's a really efficient keybind for him, and it definitely works. Now, one tip that I have for you guys when picking out keybinds, especially building keybinds, is you want to separate your building keybinds between your different fingers. So if you think about this, imagine clicking, I guess, the F key twice, like once and then twice. How fast can you do that as opposed to clicking the F and D key with two different fingers? So if I were to click F as fast as I can twice, I mean, I can do it a little faster, but just for video's sake, and then F and D as fast as I can twice, it's obviously much faster. When you have two different keybinds set to two different fingers, you can almost simultaneously press them at the exact same time and they will go through, as opposed to if they're stuck on one finger, you have to go from one button and then take it off of the button and then move it to a different one and then click it in. So it's obviously a lot slower. So move your keybinds, especially for building, to different fingers. Now, huge important tip, I'm sure you guys know this, you always want to be able to run forward. If you cannot run forward, if your middle finger cannot hold W, do not do it. Your middle finger needs to always be holding W, but that gives you opportunity for even your thumb to click a building bind, whether it's like C, V, B, maybe even N, your pinky to hit Shift or Control, or maybe Alt and Caps Lock. That gives you your pointer finger to hit tons of buttons and your ring finger. You've got tons of options. As long as you can keep your building binds on separate fingers, you will find yourself more efficient and much quicker with building. Now, the reason why I love this mouse, I use the Logitech G502. I really enjoy this because it's got three buttons that I mainly use. I've got my wall, my floor, and my pyramid on my mouse right by my thumb. Now, the best thing about this is I can pretty much click the wall and pyramid at the same time with the tip of my thumb and with the knuckle of my thumb. So it's practically like having two fingers. It's super efficient. Something that I could improve on is maybe finding a different pyramid building bind, because I have to, like I said, click a wall, move my finger off, and then click pyramid. But it honestly works for me just because you're not quickly usually placing pyramids. It's not super frequently, but like I said, I might have to improve on it in the future. But that also makes it so that I have less things to do with my left hand, so that leaves other things for my left hand to do and to focus on. I can reload, I can edit, I can switch between all my guns while building, so I can switch between gun and building practically immediately. So I find that really efficient and really effective. Next, I'm going to go over sensitivity. Now, sensitivity is the biggest question that I'm ever asked on my YouTube channel. Exalted, what is your sensitivity and why? So sensitivity is kind of interesting because it definitely depends on your gameplay style. Like, of course, there's wrist movers and arm movers. But it also matters about like your arm size and especially your mouse pad size. First of all, I would like to say that the lower your sensitivity is, the more forgiving your aim will be when trying to hit shots. You will notice an increase in aim with lower sensitivities, and that goes for like almost every game. The only reason why players play with such high sensitivities on Fortnite is because of building. So if you are a player that plays on a pretty high sensitivity and you can build fast and your aim's decent, like you hit most of your shots but you miss a few, and you've got a huge mouse pad, you are completely wasting an advantage that you kind of have. If you have a giant mouse pad, you have the space to quickly move your entire arm so you can build quick, but then you also have a low enough sensitivity to where you can hit like every single one of your shots. So if you have a giant mouse pad, you should consider lowering your sensitivity to improve your aim. If you are happy with your current sensitivity, definitely just stick with it. There is no point in changing if it is working for you. This is mainly for people that are having issues finding something that works for them. Now, if you're a player that has a really small mouse pad and you find yourself constantly having to lift up and move back to the other side of the mouse pad, I highly suggest this is a situation where you're going to have to play like Mr. Savage M style with like 4K DPI or something. Not actually that high, but like a really high sensitivity is going to be beneficial so that you don't have to constantly take your mouse off the mouse pad and reset. It's going to get a little bit difficult to get used to, but that leads me straight into the next thing. Every time you change your sensitivity, you're going to get used to it. Not immediately, and no one gets used to it immediately. Nobody finds a sensitivity and is like, oh, I'm a god now. They actually use that sensitivity, they practice, and they get used to it. A lot of pro players like pretty much do not touch their sensitivity at all, and they haven't for a really long time. So I highly suggest, once you find a sensitivity that you think you can work with, that you think will be efficient for you, just start playing on it and do not change it, because every time you change your sensitivity, you have to relearn it and readapt to it, and it just takes more time. So find a good sensitivity for you, start learning it, start adapting to it, and after about a week, you will notice a huge improvement in your gameplay style. Finally, I wanted to go over some of my settings that I think are really important that you should look at and consider changing to or from. First of all, with quality, I really highly recommend view distance on near. It actually does not affect anything to do with how close or far you can see players. It'll always stay the same. A view distance on near just means trees don't render in until later, and this actually means you can see players behind a tree if they're far away, and as you approach, the tree will render in. Next, of course, I have shadows off, anti-aliasing on high, just for content creating purposes. Epic absolutely destroys my computer, but it doesn't really look any better, so I definitely suggest high if you want a really nice looking game with some pretty low settings. Textures I have on low, effects I have on medium, so that when I'm getting shot in the air, I can see where I'm getting shot from. Next, multi-threaded rendering. This is really new. I highly suggest if you have a really poor PC or not very strong CPU, you turn this off. It'll really help stabilize your FPS. If you have a decent computer and you're running at pretty much 240 FPS when recording, you can keep that on. It's not really that big of a deal, but it really helps the lower end computers stay stable at a good FPS as opposed to jumping from 20 FPS to like 180 all the time. Next, we've got my sensitivity. I play 0.05. This is really low, but the reason why I do it is because I trust my mouse DPI sensitivity more than I trust the Fortnite game sensitivity. So I change my sensitivity and I have it pretty high on my mouse. I play 1600, but I have it a lot lower on my Fortnite game just because I don't trust it as much. That's pretty much it for sensitivity. Sprint by default, highly suggest you turn this on if you don't have it on already. It opens up a free keybind for you to use for something else. For me, I changed it with crouch and trap, and then it made it so my F key can be edit, and I find that really effective. Next, we got colorblind or brightness calibration. I have this a little bit higher than usual. Only reason why is because I used to play on console, and console you couldn't turn off shadows, so I would turn it up so I could see through the shadows a little bit. Sound, that's, I don't know. But something that I'm actually going to be changing in this video is I'm going to be changing to, I don't really know how to say it, but Deuteranope or something. Deuteranope? I have no idea. Durantanope or something. 10. The reason why is because you can actually see through storm. Now, obviously, this makes the game look absolutely terrible, but it will help you in the long run. You can, like I said, you can literally see straight through the storm. This is huge for scrims. If you're not really into the competitive scene, and you don't like how absolutely terrible it makes your game look, then you can go ahead and just do whatever you feel comfortable with. It's not that big of a deal. I'm also going to be turning on visualized sound effects. The reason why I'm doing this is because it actually is kind of overpowered. There's things that you cannot hear, like a quad crasher from really, really far away. It'll actually tell you where it is. It's kind of crazy. So I highly suggest you use this. It's really helpful. These things definitely take a little bit to get used to, but it will be worth it in the long run. I don't really have much with my keybinds. Obviously, like I said, find some that work for you. Spread them out between the fingers, and that's what I've done here. I've got wall, stairs, and trap. Or wall, stairs, and where's roof? Roof here on my mouse. This is a mouse button. I can click those with my thumb, but I can use different knuckles for all three of them, so I can pretty much click them all at the exact same time. Then I have Q on a different finger and a different hand, so I can click that really quickly as well. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means because my left hand's mainly my guns, my right hand's mainly my building, I can switch between guns and building insanely quickly, and it really helps me out. And that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, definitely hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it a lot. Remember, you can use code Exalted in the item shop. Send me a picture for a shout out. I'll definitely get you in the next video. And yeah, with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.